welcome to the Audio Mullet. I'm Doug Tenaple, and I'm here with my buddy, Ethan Nicole. Say hi, Ethan.
Hi.
Oh, that was great. Hey, you know what we're going to do today?
What are we going to do?
We have a number of topics to go through. However,
I have no idea what they are.
Oh, I sent them to you in the email. There's like 15 topics.
I don't know if you're... I'm always confused if you actually know what email, even how it works. If you might have just typed it into a document and then you might have saved it as the email and then saved that somewhere in a folder you couldn't find. And
yeah,
then you
usually it works.
That somehow the internet magic got it to me.
That's true. If I don't find a glowing send button, it doesn't get anywhere. I just go, well, that email, I don't know what that's going to happen to that. I am the dumbest. I really resent. I hate technology. Like hate it.
No, I think
hate it.
It speaks. There's like a language to like computer operating systems, and if you don't get it, like I know that like I didn't play video games for a long time. When I tried to jump back into new video game systems, the language had evolved.
Yeah,
and I don't get it. I'm just lost.
It's like click here to
who are so young,
they stream, download stream flipjack, and you're like, what's a flipjack?
Like I still don't understand Minecraft. Like my kids have explained it to me so many times. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, first you build the builder table, then you get the data. I'm like, why can't I just shoot things?
Yeah. Yeah. So in truth, our topic today is nothing. We're just talking. This is like a Joe Rogan podcast, which is the top podcast in the nation. So we're going to try that format. We're just talking. We might have to hit the bong though, because that's
how do we beat Joe Rogan in ratings?
You can. He's MMA. Oh, you mean in ratings?
Yeah. No, I could never beat the guy in real life.
We would need to get Alex Jones on and get him to get. We have to get the Tesla guy. What's his name?
Rich Musk. Guy? Elon Musk.
Yeah, we got to get Musk on smoking weed.
So it comes down to us finding celebrities that are just super.
Well, his podcast has been around for a long time. It grew and grew. I mean, he was already a celebrity when he started it, but and it was one of the first ones. So he's been building his audience much longer than a lot of us have.
So there's no possible way that we could say something. Like we couldn't say something or do something on this podcast right now that would give us more hits than a Joe Rogan. That's just an impossibility, you're telling me.
I don't think what you say in your podcast is what gets hits, unless you're the type of podcast that makes the news because of what's said on your podcast. You already have to be pretty big for that to happen.
Like what if I discovered 0 point energy, like by folding a gum wrapper a certain way, and I told everyone about that, where we could get 0 point energy. That wouldn't get more clicks than a Joe Rogan. Or what if I had the cure for cancer by combining 3 different flavors, a specific 3 different kinds of gum that you chew at once? And it was a fact, like it actually worked. And if I put that out on a podcast, that wouldn't get more clicks than a Joe Rogan episode with Alex Jones.
I doubt it. Because you'd have to get people to talk about it. Like we have to call the episode something really salty, like the
cure for
Doug
cancer.
Doug Tenaple owns scientists with the cure for cancer. You can't just say we found the cure for cancer, because it needs to have an edge to it that makes people want to click on it.
Owns the lib scientists.
Yeah. Like Doug Tenaple creates cancer cure out of liberal tears.
For all we know, that could be the cure. I don't think it's been tried.
Could be. Yeah.
Everyone talks about liberal tears. I don't think anyone's ever actually drank them.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It sounds dehydrating.
It may have amazing promise. So what have you been doing this week? What are you doing? I saw a Ollie Possum thing where you're getting your book out. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, I've been recording my audiobook. I was recording it in my garage, and I kept... my garage obviously has a big thin garage door, so I was getting up at 4 a.m. recording every morning, but I was only able to get like a chapter or 2 done every morning because either a cricket would start chirping or cars constantly driving by. Like you think that your garage is going to be quiet until you need it to be absolutely silent, and then it's not.
And at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I like the cricket hunt, though. You have to go on a cricket hunt. I'm going to kill you.
I had one day where a cricket, I was usually able to find them and kill them if they started to make a noise. But there was one day where it was impossible to get it. It was hidden somewhere back behind a bunch of bricks and stuff. And so then I didn't get any recording done that day. I went to Home Depot, got a bunch of cricket traps. I went back, set them everywhere, which is just sticky paper. And I guess I found out it's temperature. Crickets, there's a specific temperature around 80 degrees that crickets chirp. So I knew if it was kind of an 80-degree morning, then watch out. The crickets are going to be chirping because the crickets are everywhere out here.
So you could have put on a heater or a freezer. You could have bought a freezer unit that was quiet and started it.
Yeah, maybe. There's not a lot of freezer shops open at 4 a.m.
Or you could read a night scene in Ollie Possum and just have a cricket back there.
Yeah. With this mic picks things up, like overpowering. But yeah, so I did a studio. I went and I decided to pay this guy that I found this guy that lives just down the road from me that has a nice recording studio at his house, and recorded the whole thing there, and I got it done in 4 nights. Having a guy there, I mean, I still got to edit through it all, but yeah, I was getting like 12 chapters done a night, so killed it. Got it done. It feels really good, and I was able to like scream when I do like the gorge parts where the witch is going psycho.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that in my garage because my kids' bedrooms.
You're doing voices?
Yeah, I do all the voices on it.
Wow. That's you have to be pretty vulnerable because real voice actors will listen to it and go, yeah, it sounds like my uncle doing voices at the Thanksgiving dinner table.
We'll see what people think.
Oh, let's review The Joker.
Okay.
So Ethan and I, we're going to review The Joker movie for you because everyone's talking about it now. I don't even care, but it's like all over the internet. It's The Joker. Ethan, what do you think of The Joker? Tell me what you think of it.
Oh man, I think Joaquin Phoenix is an amazing actor. He's so vulnerable and real. Yeah, very vulnerable, very real. He's one of my favorite actors. He always has dark rings under his eyes, and he's always like kind of quivering and like he just did a bunch of heroin. Yeah, he looks like... And that seems to be his main thing. He really is one of those actors who's like into all of his roles. You know what I mean? That's true. He's like intense. But his role's always the guy that looks like he did a lot of heroin, right? Like he's never not that. Yeah, he's always psycho. Yeah. So he got... And is it a compliment to get a role like the Joker? If you're typecasting someone and you get, out of all of Hollywood, they pick Joaquin Phoenix. I still want to see the Tommy Wiseau Joker. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he's got the hair already. I mean, he's like a few steps away from it. Yeah. Okay. So, so here's my thing with the Joker that I hated. First of all, it's made for crybaby nerds who feel damaged and picked on by the world and are looking for some kind of a revenge. He's kind of their patron saint. So it's made for this wussy generation, for starters. Number 2 is the glorification of violence. The idea that like, this was a kid's thing, but now it's a rated R movie full of violence, like brutal. We love brutality as sport. I think that's what annoys me about it is it's like we can't just grow up. We have to take our child, the toys we played with as kids and turn them into like what's supposed to. We're trying to pretend like it's this great cinema and it's so deep and it's like Scorsese level crime, and I'm turned off by it. Like I don't want to keep the Joker a Batman bad guy. And make a different movie. Yeah. And, everyone confuses like darkness with depth. They're like, if this is just raw sentimentality, that's not deep. It's actually much harder to do raw sentimentality. It requires vulnerability. You have to be better at it. It's kind of like doing clean humor versus dirty humor. Mm-hmm. It's like you have to actually write stuff to make something hold, or you can entertain them just by, slashing someone's throat. Yeah. Yeah, that's like with songwriting, it's much easier to write a sad song that's, that's good. Like lyric wise, if you write sad stuff, it's just like an easier way to get people to feel something, I think. And that's what it is like with movies. It's a lot easier to get people to react viscerally to darkness than it is with something positive, because they're, I don't know if it's tropes or what it is. I think it's just when you cross, it's line crossing, really. I think that's one thing that pushes us constantly, the borders, because that's what it is with comedy. I think that with comedy, if you're swearing, dropping F-bombs, or being really dirty, it's when we have a reaction, which I've heard, I was wondering one time, what was the evolutionist view of where does laughter come from? It's just so bizarre. Yeah. And the explanation I heard was it was a response that we had to, if a caveman is walking towards his other caveman friends in the woods and steps on a twig and they think it's a lion or something, it's going to come eat them. Yeah. And then their friend steps out. It's like we thought we were going to get killed, but oh no, it was just Jake. Let's all laugh. Like laughter is a response to that. I thought it was going to be bad, but it's good. I don't know how true that is. I always feel like all these evolutionary theories are like fan fiction for reality, but it's an interesting concept because I feel like that's how you get that laugh. Like you say something that makes everybody feel nervous, like the lion, and then but it's just a comedian, so we can all laugh to kind of relieve ourselves.
Yeah. People talk a lot about God of the gaps, and really every single evolutionary argument is evolution of the gaps.
Right.
It's like just throw evolution at it. That's all they do. It's their God, and it is a belief system. And it doesn't matter if the science backs it off or not. And they'll sit there and look at me with a straight face and say, I can't argue faith with logic. In fact, yeah, I know what you mean. I've tried
when they talk about how an animal evolved,
your evolution God,
when they'll talk about how an animal evolved, I hear this all the time on Joe Rogan's podcast. Even Rogan does it, but they talk as if it's a known fact of how an animal evolved from, some kind of and it's, how do they know? It's pure fan fiction. They're just like, well, it must have done this, and then this started to happen, and it started as just this little tiny worm, and then
they start sounding like PBS. They're like, yeah, good one, yeah. Yeah, correct.
No, it sounds like fan fiction. Like it's like, what if this origin story was what it's like creating an origin story for a character. To me, that's what it is.
It's a faith. It's just like any. I have a faith. They have a faith, and they, for me, it's just as easy for me to attribute a God because I'm convinced he's an adequate creator, and they believe that evolution and self-generating molecules, matter, meaning, and consciousness all came from rocks and particles colliding together. They can just apply that God, their God, to anything, which is evolution. Hey, why does music exist? Well, we must have had a survival benefit when we Why is there art? Why is there a self-sacrifice in war? Oh, must have been a survival benefit when some guys from some tribes self-sacrifice. Like everything is the same argument. Mm-hmm. And it's also what I hate about the Joker.
And it's all a very complicated way of just saying it just happened by itself. When it all comes down to it.
Yeah, and all of the
back in the Joker, sorry.
All of the darkness in Joker too is like, aren't I deep to eat this forbidden fruit? The beloved Miss Tenaple and I were watching on TV. There's just some random broadcast of 16 Candles with Molly Ringwald, and I was watching all of these kind of tame by comparison today jokes, right? Which was considered so risque at the time. Like, ooh, 16 Candles. Have you seen it? And I'm going like, Angie, all this humor that they wrote would be considered like low end sitcom humor now, like broadcast low end. And now this movie would have to be so foul for it to be made that have to talk about putting testicles in mouths or even have it happen on screen accidentally for it to get made into like one of those comedies, like a risque comedy. Mm-hmm. It would be so foul and so awful that it wouldn't be it would be appropriate for this generation, but not for our family.
You remember that was the big thing in comedies, like to cross the penis line, to suddenly have penises being shown all the time.
Yeah.
Like every comedy had their penis scene.
Yeah.
Or balls.
So maybe I went off on a wrong sprue here. Because we're down like.
I can't remember any penis scenes.
Yeah. I wanted to, it was going back to the argument The idea was going back to the argument of something to do with evolution about us negating the other person's values or the other person's worldview. I'm not going to ever get back on this trail. I can't find my way back, Ethan.
I don't know where.
I'm so going.
Well, I think we're talking about pushing the line of shock to get that reaction. It's an easier way of getting that reaction to push. I was making the analogy with comedy. You can just be really foul and it makes people feel kind of nervous, so they chuckle and they laugh.
Yeah.
Well, they laugh and they all join in on it. Like when it's a whole room, it's also contagious.
That's a lot of my
make a really clever joke.
Shock value humor. I do it all the time. It's easy. It's easy to make your skin crawl. Like if they were showing that little trans girl dressed like a guy wearing a tie during the debates. And I said, the only girls that dress like gentlemen anymore are guys. Or the only men who wear ties, guys who wear ties anymore are girls trying to be guys to prove that they're guys. And the only women today who wear dresses are trans people trying to convince everyone they're a woman. So at least the trans people, we can look forward to that because they're going to maintain traditional dress. They wear lovely the trans, I don't even know what you call them, girls or guys. They wear lovely gowns and have beautiful long hair and they apply lots of makeup. And in the future, they'll be the only ones. The only ones who will wear dresses, have beautiful hair and wonderful makeup with a gentle voice, who are longing to stay at home and raise children, will be men acting as women.
It always cracks me up that when like a little boy is becoming trans, they get so excited that he wants to play with princesses and wear pink dresses and horses and all the tropes of what, like if a little girl does it, they're like, oh, she's conforming to gender norms and like, that's horrible. She needs to play with blue paint and pictures of dinosaurs and stuff and race cars.
And if it's a guy,
this obsession with stereotypes.
If it's a guy being a girl and all he longs for is traditional marriage, I just want to marry a guy and raise a family and stay at home and raise the kids. They're like, you go trans girl,
that's true.
Whatever. They're championing it. How dare you attack
it's all
her?
About. Yeah.
Well, as I was saying, like everyone was against marriage until gays wanted to do it, until gay men wanted to get married. Then suddenly, and it wasn't even gay men, by the way, who wanted to get married. It was a tiny percentage of them that wanted to walk down and get married. But everyone started celebrating marriage as like the most holy institution in the country. Like we have to fight for the institution. I'm like, when did you ever fight for the institution of marriage as anything but a patriarchal, leftover, old-fashioned, government-created thing? Now suddenly it's like the end-all, be-all, marriage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just always felt like a backwards way of saying, or a sneaky backdoor way of saying that marriage isn't really a thing and we get to make it whatever we want.
Yeah. Or if two gay guys adopt a kid, then suddenly they're like, oh, sweet, look, they adopted a kid. And usually it's like, ew, why would you voluntarily adopt a kid? That's gross. So gross. When gays do it's like, hey, celebrate adoption. I thought you guys were celebrating abortion. What happened? What happened to those? What happened to the good old days?
Did we go off a cliff here? I got nothing.
Oh, is that it? Are we empty?
Yeah.
Do I have to generate all the content today, Ethan? Is that it?
I guess it's Friday and my brain's fried.
You didn't see anything stupid that we can talk about or funny? Oh,
we didn't really see Joker and we're trying to talk about a movie we didn't see.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We should probably come out with that. We didn't see the Joker. Our entire review was based on us not seeing it, though it's 100% accurate. Fact, Joker's trash. I do want to go see it. Mostly so I can complain about it with more specifics on my YouTube channel.
What do you think of the whole thing with the media? There's a weird thing where it seemed like at first everybody's really like this looks amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then there was this story that came out. It just suddenly shifted against it. Like, oh, it's going to cause all these clown psycho murderers to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, I didn't follow it that closely, but it seemed like it hinged on when the director the director had said that, in woke culture, he doesn't like making comedies anymore because you just can't do it in the way with woke culture.
Yeah, because he had done, was it The Hangover and Old School?
Yeah, I think he did Hangover and stuff. Yeah. And so I think they got offended by that. And so they turned on him.
And then all my buddies on the right just fell into line. Joker is the best movie ever.
I know.
What a bunch of
it's funny.
fucking followers. You guys, get a freaking sprain in your head. Think for yourself, you freaking stupid masses. And then everyone's programmed. You can already see them all lining up.
We all have to take a side.
Yeah, we're all for it. We're all against it. You're so stupid and soy that you're such a leftist. Yeah, you're so alt-right Nazi. And then now they're going like, will it get the Academy Award nominated? We already know like whether if it gets nominated or not. Everyone's going to just jump. Oh, I knew it.
Everything has to be a stupid fight. Like the Gillette
imbeciles.
razor.
Ethan, everyone is stupid.
I know. It is. I don't know. I don't get it. Why do we do it?
I just think we have gaslit ourselves by finding the people and things that we want to follow. And then we feel like we're not being heard and we have to weigh in, because I'm talking about myself here on Twitter. Mm-hmm. When I look at a pro-life post and I go, I have to like this pro-life post or retweet it if it's a sick enough good burn to encourage my fellow conservatives who have had to shut up about this culturally for so long. That's what's happening. And then the other side does it. I'll see people that I work with or whatever, and they're like, Trump is such an asshole. And look how much we can really trust Elizabeth Warren. That was an actual straight ahead tweet by one of my fellow comic critters. And I was like I hit reply, like, look at that shit-eating grin on that woman. She'd throw me in jail for being against gay marriage. And I deleted the tweet instead of tweeting it. So I'm just going like, I'm sitting here in this freaking weirdo echo chamber of not only people who I love, but people who I must insult. And I really, that rugged individualist, angry, rebellious person in me really resents the feeling that I'm just following this giant mob. I hate mobs. And I also hate the people who hate mobs. I fucking hate myself, Ethan. Someone help me. Someone help. I'm stuck. Everything is a bad move. Everything is stupid.
The hard thing with me is I keep thinking of topics to talk about as you're talking. And then by the time you finish, I've thought of so many and gotten lost. I can't remember what I was going to talk about.
You can't even write the best one down. Write it down on a Post-it.
I know. I need to start writing. I did that during our last podcast. I wrote something down and I did it. It worked.
And then I always look at that Post-it. I look at that Post-it and I go, I can't read my own.
Oh, yeah, taking stances. Because I think that's it. Like, I think that Twitter and social media in general, before it existed, we had this guilt that there was all this stuff that we should take a stance on. We should make our voice known about it. We should take a side. Yeah. There wasn't really an avenue. It's really inconvenient to go out on the street and start yelling about this stuff to people. Yeah. And just saying it. So it's created like a way for us to easily, conveniently, and comfortably do that. Like to just walk out amongst our fellow men and just start spouting our mouths off. Yeah. And feel virtuous. And so I think it really is to make us feel good.
We spend so much time online that really is a huge percentage of our real life now. Like if I don't share the gospel online, I'm not going to share it in real life. I spend 90% of my time online. So let me blow out a quick scripture. There, I did my job.
Is there a worse place to share the gospel?
No, dude, it's always good to share the gospel. Always.
Well, I agree it's always good, but...
It may be, in fact, today, Ethan, it may be the only legit place is to I blow stuff out on Twitter and YouTube. I'm like, I should just be presenting the gospel all the time. It's the only thing worth reading online. The rest of this stuff's shit. Everything I read is just, this stuff's garbage.
Like the moment you try to share the gospel, like on a tweet, then you're going to get it'll get all these retweets like, hell yeah, the gospel, mother effers. Yeah. You non-Christians are garbage. And then
And then all the atheists come out. Some of us believe in science, and some of us don't like throwing gays off roofs, like your God who endorses slavery.
Yeah, you sky daddy.
Yeah.
Blue beard.
Yeah, and I'm even in, I'm doing in my comics now, doing crowdfunding comics, which is just a matter of just submitting yourself to public abuse, where your fans are all like, yeah, we like your stuff. And then your people who don't like your work are like, you're a scumbag. And then I'm working with these young artists kind of getting into social media and crowdfunding their comics. And I'm like, get ready. Because as soon as you put something out in public and people start loving it or hating it, you're going to get abused. There's memes out there of me with like dildos all over my face. I'm like, get ready. This is the cost. You just thought you wanted to just be a cartoonist and make books and tell funny stories and whack around. And now you have to be ready to have your YouTube stream grabbed and made fun of, and you will be just mocked. And the people who support you will go and attack them.
Well, I think your success in crowdfunding is actually disproves the whole idea that this is real. To me, it proves that the loudmouths on both sides are a minority.
Yeah.
The social media has given them a platform, but in general, I also think that's one reason that, like the success of Jordan Peterson, if the loudmouths on these platforms were correct, he wouldn't be as popular as he is. I went to a Jordan Peterson speaking event in Long Beach a while back, and this room was packed with quiet, unassuming type guys, all races, and there's women too.
Cool.
But these were not the type of people that came off as shouting at the top of their lungs at you, trying to own you.
Yeah. So that's my other theory.
Normal.
That's
they look
my other
like
theory.
Programmers and geeks and
is that
just normal people.
You attract the audience you deserve. So if you're a quieter, thoughtful guy like Jordan Peterson, then your supporters, you're going to start attracting those kinds of people. If he's Alec Jones or Trump or who else is more loud? Even Ben Shapiro, more combative. You will attract a more Milo Yiannopoulos. You will attract that combative audience.
I think that what you attract though is when you're especially people like that. I think what they do is they are the voice for a quiet. Like, I'm not saying it makes it right, but I'm saying that there's a lot of quiet guys who are timid and would like to own the libs, but they hear that voice in Ben Shapiro and they go, yeah. If I could, that's what I would like to say. That's what I want to say. And so like they get on board. And so I think that's the appeal of Jordan Peterson. It's like, I think about these deep things and all this, and I think that there's just the stuff he talks about. Like that's the stuff I'm trying to put into words. So I think that's where that comes from. I don't know if they have to have the same personality.
But I'm saying they will also attract some of the same personality. That is when you said, because Jordan Peterson, I'm trying to think of who's louder. I mean, I think Dennis Prager is very similar in thought, but also a gentleman, wears a suit and tie and attracts a gentleman's audience. And if you compare that to a guy who has similar values, say Adam Carolla, who's always on his show, but Adam Carolla is going to be more cussy and bombastic and humorous, and his audience will be more cussy and bombastic and humorous. Even a lot of Dennis Prager's audience, right? There's a lot of overlap there. So I want to be careful how I come off online, because I could just sit there and rant all day. And what I really want to attract is people who love great stories. And some of my quiet audience who love great stories and really don't give a flying rip about conflict. They'll tell me from time to time, like, hey, how about getting back to comics instead of all this abortion stuff? And I'm like, F you, baby killer. No, I don't. But, I've been thinking about that a lot, that I think we attract the kinds of audiences as we project. And I think that is a big thing about, like, the difference between Jordan Peterson's audience and maybe Milo Yiannopoulos is they're both kind of rebels,
for sure,
but they also attract the tone.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think that your campaign being as successful as it is tells me that there's a large chunk of people they don't care about all these issues as much as, or they see a good comic and they'll buy it.
Yeah, that is particularly true of
really
my audience, because there's so many in my audience that disagree with me. And they go, hey, I hold my nose and buy Doug's work. Less and less, as time goes on, because we're getting trained to not be able to stomach the work of people who if we think their ideas are truly destructive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think SJWs are destructive, and climate changers and evolutionists. I mean, I'd still go watch a movie. I mean, if I went to see the Joker and actually liked it, I'd say I liked it, even if it was by probably some who knows what. I don't care. I like enjoying things too much.
Yeah. Well, and even I like enjoying something made by somebody that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
That's the example I always use is Get Out. I think it's such a great horror movie and entertaining, great movie.
Yeah, it is
and
great.
I know that I probably even disagree with the point of it, but I love that he's making the point to me in such an amazing artistic way. Like, that's what I want. It's way better than just shouting at me on Twitter.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm trying to think of what if the worst anti-God, angry atheist, social justice warrior, pro-rainbow flag guy made my family and I the best meal in the world.
Yeah.
I'd just thank him all day.
Yeah, it is.
I'd go, thank you, SJW guy. I'm experiencing so much pleasure because you're so good at what you do. And then in a way, I'm offering him a purer compliment than someone who agrees with him and just buys the stuff because he has the rainbow flag hanging outside of his door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get this weird complex working with people in Hollywood where I feel like this weird thought that I should, if I partner up with somebody on something, that I need to give them a little disclaimer and be like, hey, just so you know, I am a Christian and conservative.
Yeah.
And I don't know what could happen. I mean, it could be right now, it's not a big deal, but who knows if some controversy bubbles up and it could affect us both. But
I've done that all the time for the last 10 years.
But it's weird because then I'm they don't do that to me. They're not going to be like, hey, just so you know, these are my political views. It's we're supposed to not have to do that. It's so.
I told a lefty artist I bought some of his work at Comic-Con, and I commissioned him to do some stuff for me. Mm-hmm. And I said, you're famous, and I know you're on the left, and we've been longtime friends. And just so you know, before you agree to do this and take this money from me, you're going to get hit for working with me. And he goes, what kind of hit? I mean, I know you're an ass, but what kind of hit? I go, oh, because you're going to get that I oppose gay marriage. I don't believe in transgender issues or whatever. I don't believe in the global warming garbage. I don't believe in evolution. I believe Jesus is the only way. And he kind of looked at me like, no, I'll do this. And he doesn't need my money, by the way. He's doing well enough to not need my money. So it wasn't whatever. He just kind of did it. And I kept going away thinking to myself, man, this guy doesn't know what's going to happen to him. He does not realize. We'll talk about it off air. What exactly?
Well, I guess that's. Oh, okay, yeah. But I think that's the difference.
Can you see me on camera?
Controversy following me like you do. Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, hold on.
Can you not see me?
Yeah, I can't see you on camera. Don't tell him what you see, but look at this. So anyways, I warned that guy that he could get a shitstorm for working with me, and he said. He understood. And I've done that to a lot of the Hollywood producers that I work with. I've got a lot of guys interested in my work. And I just want to be clear up front going you're going to be asked to apologize, and you'll probably just have to say, look, I don't agree with anything Doug believes, and he has a right to his opinion, and leave it there.
So how often have you ever had somebody go, oh, then on second thought, and then they they end the relationship right there when you say that? There was one artist that I really liked a lot. It was a guy transitioned into a girl. Mm-hmm. And I just thought she was really cute, but she did really good art.
And I said, I really dig your art. And I watched one of the videos. I go, holy cow, it's a guy. I could tell by the voice that it was a guy being a girl. I said, if you want to come on my show, I love inviting trans people on and just hang with them and talk about art. Just that's kind of how I stay friendly, to people I disagree with, let's say. And, oh no, he was like, nope, not going to do it. So.
Oh yeah. Huh.
So something like that.
So you just wouldn't go on your YouTube show? Just wouldn't go on your YouTube show.
Yeah. Whatever you choose is fine, Ethan. They both equally apply, I guess. I don't even know. You can't even talk anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. It's like, yeah, like I was saying, you have controversy following you, so I would understand giving that disclaimer to somebody. For me, it's more like I have potential controversy that could come up.
Yeah.
I've never been targeted. I don't have those campaigns against me, but I haven't played it safe either. So like,
yeah,
I almost assume at some point it's going to happen. I don't know, but
like they'll go, anyway. Don't you write for Babylon Bee, that anti-Snopes, anti-fact site? That fake, the fake news site?
Babylon Bee and everything on it will be associated with me.
Yeah.
And
yeah, here he degraded the opposition to Chick-fil-A, and they'll be like, Mr. Nicole, we liked this television series, and now we think there's something else just like it in development, so we'll pass.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I don't know. I am curious about, because in Hollywood, sincerity is severely lacking in Hollywood. So I always wonder how sincere even the political views are. Like, I wonder how much of it's just everyone going, oh yeah, we all agree. But like, really, they're all there to make stuff.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's just a few people that are really psycho about it and will actually fire people over it. I think in general,
that's
a lot of
true,
people fire over it if they feel unsafe.
Work in HR.
If they feel like, yeah, they do. That's true. And also, I think there's people that they actually don't care about it, but what they care about is money. And if they think, those views are going to come back to bite us later, bottom line, we should get rid of this guy and get someone who's a little more mainstream.
Yeah. And
it's probably more like that.
Well, and it could be getting there now, where if enough people are being programmed to be that anti-conservative, then they really could start losing actual money for working with you. I don't think we're there yet. And my work is good, and my work usually makes them money. But at some point, they're just going to go, we can't. It's why I'm doing crowdfunding. I'm trying to protect myself from some of the worst turns in culture. And it's only like tying a knot in the bottom of the rope, because it's not a long-term solution. Long-term, it is going to be illegal or, just so beyond offensive to work with someone like me that no right-minded person will be able to pay me money. Or you'll just be like ridiculed as the guy who works with Bill Cosby. Mm-hmm. That's what they're trying to get you to look like to culture, is you're so horrible that you're basically equated with Bill Cosby to work with a normal, an evangelical whom they all agreed with 15 years ago. Now we can't work with those people. That's cancel culture. And I actually think I see the underpinnings of that. I've heard people say that the backlash that's over, and that's part of like the success of the Joker. But I can easily see the psychological and philosophical underpinnings for just to keep going down that path, or for us to continue escalating the Civil War, cultural Civil War.
Yeah, I think it's an ongoing culture war right now. It's, I do think that the Trump election was a backlash against that too. So I don't think the battle's won on either side, but it does seem like there's a large portion of the country that isn't into it.
Yeah, and I see.
I'm looking at you, and you're frozen up.
Yeah, well, and I see.
Cool, you're talking.
More and more people on the right are taking on the actions of SJWs, like boycotting, canceling, using insults, undermining the other person through harassment. maybe we'll start fighting back at these demonstrations where they start burning campuses down. Maybe we'll come back and they bring fists, we bring knives, and it escalates. Or they bring knives and we bring, clubs or guns. That it could easily get to something like that. Even though it's only a tiny percentage, everyone's mind is being changed because of how many people are plugged into social media. That reaches all the way out to, Tupelo. Suddenly, it's being spread.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I'm curious how it'll go because my hope is that younger generations will, because it seems like the things that older generations are passionate about, the younger generation kind of is watching from the outside, and they see kind of the absurdity of it, and so there's this kind of pendulum swing, and I don't know how much, but my hope is that the younger generation, or the younger generation at the moment, is hopefully looking at this and going, geez, these guys are kind of ridiculous.
I do see that, like in the conservative homeschool movement and stuff like that, a real grasp of values. Like our kids are more articulate and well-read than ever of both sides. But I think the broadest culture, when I read like unread Christians, they're almost all woke. They're all pro-evolution. They're all pro-gay marriage. And so I just think across the masses, the other side, it just has it's so much easier and has so much more going for it than the people who, you can resist a little bit and maybe Trump wins another election. But the tidal wave and the mass brainwashing through college, public school, media, all forms of media, I don't have an optimistic view of our future. I have hope in God always. And it may very well be his will that we get put through that meat grinder. But I don't see the underpinnings that give me hope for the future. I just think,
I guess that's true. I mean, and plenty of civilizations have gone down that road, and horrible things have happened. So
yeah, and the right wing turning more SJW that's just Boromir using the ring.
Yep,
it's hooray. We owned them, or we canceled their movie instead of them canceling ours. And it's vengeance.
We dug up all their dirt.
That's right.
Yeah, we dug up all their tweets.
Right, exactly. And that just goes. But at the same time, then it's unilateral disarmament if you don't fight. If you don't fight dirty and get in the mud and destroy their business, then they'll sit there and let you apologize all day, and they'll never apologize back. They'll just keep coming with clubs, and you'll go, no, we're peaceful. We're peaceful. Okay, great, because we're going to feed all your family to lions. And you go, okay, I forgive you. I'm taking the high road here. I won't do it to you if I have the opportunity. I don't know.
So what do you think of that whole Brant Jean hug of forgiveness? The video that came out, the guy's brother got shot by the cop and gave her the hug and forgave her in the courtroom.
Yeah, that was very powerful.
It's amazing.
That is, and that is one thing that Christianity has that the godless left and all these SJWs will never have. And it really is a robust sense of forgiveness. And it's because at the root of our philosophy is something they can't emulate and have. Because I hear a lot of atheists say like, oh, we want to be moral too. And we want to take on, there's some that even respect the tenets of Christianity. But you'll never have that source that the Bible reminds us so many times that I have been forgiven by so much, for so much. And there's endless parables about it, that I can't hold that law over someone else and not forgive them. It's a recognition that Christ paid for something, and that forces us to be forgiving as a discipline. You have to forgive. And that guy hugging that cop, you go like, oh, fine. Someone hit your car. You forgive him. But what if it was a family member? When that guy said, I love you, I forgive you, I don't wish harm on you, and he goes out and he hugs her. And of course the woke, all the woke people were saying, we're making fun of him almost for his faith and for being forgiving.
Are they excusing it like, it's traumatic? When post-traumatic stress does a lot of weird things to people, they're blaming it like he was in a bad state. If he was, I heard that take. There's a lot of bad takes, but sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt your thought.
No, that pretty much concludes my thought, is that I think in the end, if you look at the escalation of events and the escalation of the two sides, the thing that's going to break it will probably, the only hope of it breaking isn't, I'm not going to put my sword down to concede abortion and let you kill babies, but I could forgive sin. I could be forgiving the way that I've been forgiven.
That's a big way that I think secular culture doesn't understand the idea of forgiveness. They think that it means endorsing, you forgive an abortion. Someone who had an abortion doesn't mean you condone abortion.
Right.
You forgive someone who murdered your brother doesn't mean you condone the murder of your brother.
Right.
It's not condoning.
Right. So I'm a member of the right. And when I watch the right just dogpile on SJWs without mercy, that doesn't sit right with me. The idea that you find someone who's weak and been destroyed, and then you just jump on that dog pile and destroy them more in the name of Jesus or whatever. That just that never made sense to me.
Yep.
So we're screwed. If your only hope is that everyone grasp Jesus' forgiveness more, then I don't have a lot of hope for the future. I just don't see it. Christ-like culture, I don't see it.
Yeah. Well, you never know where we're headed. What's going on.
Yeah. I see it in our wives. I see it in good people all the time. I go, oh man, that guy's gentle. I want to be like him. And then you watch him just get dismantled online, for being gentle or whatever, and just get destroyed. Yeah. And no one will go and defend him and fight for him or whatever. It's just like, yeah.
Well, that's the more kind of bizarre thing, which feels very right now, is like there was that instance in the courtroom with Brant Jean hugging Amber Geiger, who murdered his brother. And then there was like think pieces written about how how we fetishizing forgiveness and all this weird stuff like that. And then recently, Ellen was seen at a baseball game or something.
Oh yeah, Ellen DeGeneres was sitting, and I love that Babylon Bee article too. They said like she outed herself as a conservative by being respectful to the other side. I love that. That headline was great, and I really did watch that Ellen DeGeneres statement on her show about getting along to the other side, and I just thought, wow, this is not a leftist. This is someone who I disagree with, who really sees the humanity in the other person. I really liked it.
Yeah, I actually didn't even watch the statement, but I just thought it was fascinating that there were think pieces, these articles coming out about how she was wrong and how that this idea that it undercuts all of our, basically saying undercuts our whole narrative of power. Fighting power.
It was the other actor was nailing her for providing cover. Oh yeah, some other woke actor or something. And I just think, in the end, seeing people like her say that on the other side, that gives me a lot of hope. That's the good stuff that needs to be commended. And I retweeted that. I enjoyed it so much. I retweeted, and yours too, of the guy hugging the woman who killed. I go, see, I got to retweet this. I got to put this out there.
Yeah, that cracked me up because it really is like, I think people would take that to say conservatives are the nice ones. But I think the joke there is that they're accusing her of being a conservative because she was respectful.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious.
Yep. There she is. I would, and by the way, I've always I've always thought she was funny.
Yeah, she was always very lovable.
And I've always thought she was a cool talent. But I also didn't like the idea of the mainstreaming of gay talent by giving her a show. And by the way, I would hire her to do that show because she's that good in that show. But I'm just saying, I just culturally, I'm always torn when I see kind of, it just feels like, it feels like shows are getting greenlit as political pieces now. Like on Survivor, there's always a gay character. And there's an Indian woman on there now. And I go, oh, I wonder if she only got cast because she's Indian. It's like, that's a terrible thing to think about someone. And then that's what we're all forced to think now because we know how things work. That guy, oh, there's this week's this Survivor season's gay guy. And there's the vegan. They have the vegan character. They always have these. It just doesn't seem like they naturally put this cast together.
Yeah, I was wondering, how do we get beyond that? Because the real goal is to get to where we don't even have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they think they're engineering. They think they're engineering this future where the rainbow comes and happens naturally, right?
Yeah.
Like they're correcting a wrong of the past. And even though really, like we were talking about in our previous episode with Frank Fleming about unfairness and how a lot of things just have unfair, like roots lead to different outcomes. So different cultures, invested in entertainment or however it worked that we got to this place where more men were doing movies or whatever it is. It's not all purely a bunch of guys getting in a room or one group getting in a room and saying we hate that other race, or it's almost never that. And when do we get to that place where I don't even know how we transition from this PC diversity model to it just happening naturally? And then you don't have to ask that question. You might see a cast of a rainbow of characters, and the thought doesn't cross your mind that they had to cast a black guy.
The answer, Ethan, will not be politics. We know that. It will not be waiting for everyone else to do something before we do something. If we are to look at the Bible, the answer is probably love.
I agree, and that's one funny thing is, one of the places I see the most diversity is at church.
Oh yeah,
it's not enforced, and you see different races, different ages. It's really true diversity too. There's diversity of opinion and politics.
I went to that Glendale church that I attended with Pastor Meenan. That church was half black, and I'd gone there for 4 years, and I didn't even notice it till I did a head count one day. It's like I didn't even notice that half my congregation was black.
Yeah,
until about 4 years in, I did a head count.
Like if some like Fox show needed to film a scene in a church, and they could like create their audience for the background to show the perfect, woke, diverse audience. Like that's what they had there.
Yeah.
Without trying.
Yeah. I remember we even had two gay guys, a gay couple. I'm just going like we had everything. Natural.
Yeah. All natural.
All natural. 100% organic. Well, this has been another audio mullet. I'm Doug TenNapel. I am a husband of the beloved Miss TenNapel. I'm a father of 4 great children, and I'm kind of an entertainer. And I'm here with my buddy, Ethan Nicole. Who are you?
I'm Ethan Nicole, husband of Jessica Nicole, and father to 4 great children as well.
Dude, we're rich.
We got good lives.
This has been Audio Mullet.
Thank you, everybody. Now, the song.
Audio Mullet, a mullet of audio smashing you in the face.